toe. No one noticed him when he walked into the room. No applause, no greetings. No one whispered his name with admiration. He was just another face in the crowd, quiet, invisible, underestimated. But what no one knew was that this man, working in silence, was about to win everything that truly mattered. His name was Ethan Cole, too. Ethan grew up in a small town where dreams were often laughed at and ambition was considered dangerous. His father, Robert Cole, worked long shifts at a factory, coming home exhausted, hands cracked, eyes heavy. His mother, Linda, did her best to keep hope alive, but life kept testing them. Money was always short. Expectations were always low. From a young age, Ethan learned one painful truth: effort doesn't always get rewarded immediately. At school, Ethan was not the smartest, not the fastest, not the most confident. Teachers praised students like Mark Reynolds, the class topper, who spoke boldly and seemed destined for success. Friends admired Jason Miller, who had charm, confidence, and connections. Ethan had none of that, struggled with grades, doubted himself constantly, and failed more times than he could count. Every failure felt personal. When Ethan failed his first major exam, he locked himself in his room and stared at the ceiling, asking the same question over and over. What's wrong with me? His friends moved forward. He stayed behind. His inner voice grew louder, crueler. You're not enough. You'll never be enough. But life didn't slow down for his pain. After graduation, Ethan applied for job after job. Rejection emails filled his inbox. Some didn't even reply. One interview ended with a polite smile and the words, "We're looking for someone more confident." Another ended with silence. One night, after yet another rejection, Ethan sat with his father at the kitchen table. The room was quiet, except for the ticking clock. Robert looked at his son and said something simple but heavy. "Son, the world doesn't owe you belief. That's something you must give yourself." That sentence stayed with Ethan. Still, belief didn't come easily. Ethan took a low-paying job at a warehouse. Long hours, repetitive work. People barely spoke to him. Some mocked him. "This is all you're good for." One coworker laughed. Ethan smiled weakly. But inside, something broke, something else began to form. Every night after work, while others slept or scrolled, Ethan sat alone with a notebook. He wrote his thoughts, his fears, his goals. He didn't tell anyone, not his friends, not his family. He stopped explaining himself because he realized something powerful. Explaining drains energy that could be used to grow. He began reading books on mindset and discipline. He watched motivational talks quietly, headphones in, eyes focused. He learned that motivation fades, but discipline stays. That confidence is built through action, not waiting. That failure is not a verdict, it's data. Progress was slow, painfully slow. There were weeks when nothing seemed to change, months when doubt returned stronger than before. One night, Ethan almost quit. He stared at his notebook and thought, what if I'm wasting my life? The silence answered nothing. But the next morning, he woke up and continued anyway. That was the turning point. Not success, not recognition, but the decision to keep going without guarantees. Ethan started learning a new skill, something difficult, something uncomfortable. He failed repeatedly. His first attempts were embarrassing. He deleted his work again and again. Still, he showed up every day. No one clapped. No one noticed. That was the beauty of it. Working in silence gave him freedom. No pressure to impress. No fear of judgment. Just growth. Meanwhile, people around him were loud about their plans. Jason talked about big ideas but never acted. Mark chased status but avoided risk. Ethan watched quietly. Years passed. Then, one day, opportunity knocked not loudly, but gently. Ethan applied for a position that matched his new skills. During the interview, something felt different. He didn't pretend. He didn't oversell. He spoke calmly, confidently, honestly. When they asked about his failures, he didn't hide them. He owned them. A week later, he got the call. "You're hired, Det." Job changed everything but not overnight. Ethan worked harder than ever. He listened more than he spoke. He stayed consistent. Slowly, people began to notice. Promotions followed. Respect followed. Confidence followed. One evening, at a company event, Ethan stood on stage to receive an award. As he looked out into the crowd, he saw familiar faces. Mark, Jason, people who once doubted him. Their expressions weren't jealous, they were confused. How did he do it? They whispered. Ethan smiled, not because he proved them wrong, but because he proved himself right. Later that night, Ethan visited his parents. He sat at the same kitchen table where doubt once lived. His father looked at him with pride. His mother cried softly. Ethan realized something powerful. Success wasn't the money, the title, or the applause. Success was becoming the man who didn't quit. This story, shared here on MindShift Tales, is not just about Ethan, it's about you. The quiet one, the overlooked one. The person grinding in silence while the world watches louder voices. If you're struggling, if failure keeps visiting your life remember, this silence is not weakness, it's preparation. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need permission to believe in yourself. You don't need instant results to keep going. Work when no one is watching. Learn when no one is clapping. Build when no one believes. Because one day, the same world that ignored you will ask how you did it. And you'll smile, knowing the answer. You worked in silence and you won everything that mattered.